What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Counter Punch podcast. Today, we will be doing a full card breakdown for UFC 302, a card that we will actually be attending. It's going to be a wonderful time. If you're new to these, my name is Lucas Cohen. His name is Rohan Borges. Rohan, I am absolutely ecstatic. I mean, the prelims, not the best on this card. The main card, not the best. But man, when you go to a fight, it's the best. There's nothing that tops it. And at the same time, the co-main and main are pretty fucking spectacular.
Incredible, man. I cannot wait to be there. That building is going to be electric. And yeah, like you just said, the co-main and main event, they are carrying this card for sure. I mean, Paulo Costa, Strickland, incredible fight. And then the main event, Islam taking on Dawson. It'll be interesting to see if Dawson can get the job done. I'm not feeling too confident about it, but man, either way, it's going to be so fun to be there. And hopefully we'll see a lot of you guys there as well. That'd be really cool.
That would be really cool. We've had a few people come up to us, or I don't know if anybody's come up to you, but I, like at the New Jersey card, I had a few people, the Atlantic City card, I had a few people come up to me. In Miami, a few people came up to us at UFC 299. So yeah, if anybody sees us,
don't be shy at all, man.
Don't be shy. Spot on. We're actually going to be going to Ariel Helwani's live show as well on Friday, so that should be an absolute blast. I believe it's right next to the arena. And hey, maybe we could go to the weigh-ins as well.
Yeah,
see why not.
Gosh,
it's probably right before.
Yeah,
everything
exactly.
and the press conference as well.
Shoot. we need to go to that press conference.
I don't know what you got going on. He's
think
a lifeguard.
This guy's a lifeguard, but I'm going to see if I could schedule it on a different day because, that press conference is going to be some crazy thing to see. So, yeah, I'd love to make that happen for sure. So
that would be, an absolute blast. But yeah, we're here to break down this card for you guys. As I mentioned, the prelims not the best, but we're still here to give our predictions. A lot of hot takes here. Should be fun. Let's start with the first fight of the night. Andre Lima will be taking on Mitch Raposo. I like Andre Lima here. Raposo stepping in on, I believe, like a week and a half notice. I think Lima's really good. I think this guy's a high-level striker. I think even in his ground game. By the way, for those that don't remember, in his debut, he got bit by Igor Severino. The fight was stopped because he got bit. It was a bad mark, and I believe he got it like tatted. He got a tattoo of the mark afterwards. The guy's crazy, but I think this guy's really talented. And he mentioned something heading into his debut that he wants to fight like a black belt. And in his debut, he showed an active guard. He was throwing up submission attempts. And this is for a striker. He looked good off of his back. He's going to need that here against the guy, Mitch Raposo, who's going to be spamming takedowns all night. On the feet, it's going to be Lima all day. Raposo will land takedowns for sure, but I do think Lima will be active off of his back. I think he's live for a submission. I'm not sure what the odds are on a Lima sub. It's Monday when we're recording this, so I'm not sure that's even out. But I think Lima can do enough off his back to stall any damage from Raposo. I think he wins on the feet. I think Andre Lima, I think he's lined perfectly around like minus 200, minus 220. I think that makes sense. Raposo, don't get me wrong. I think this guy's really talented. He fought on The Ultimate Fighter back in 2021 and on the Contender Series, but he was like 22 at the time. Now he's 25. He's much better fighter, but at the same time, I think Andre Lima is really, really good. I think he's a prospect to watch out for. Undefeated 8-0, and I think he gets this one done.
Yeah, I got to agree. Watching the tape on Raposo, he's not that impressive on the feet. He's pretty much just a generic boxer on the feet. Like, he does have good wrestling instincts, especially defensively. He's got great ability to sprawl, stop those takedowns. But his offensive wrestling isn't much to, glamour over either. I think in this matchup, Lima will have a lot of success on the feet. He's the more creative fighter. He's definitely going to have a big speed advantage in this matchup. And ultimately, I think that, if Raposo does look to take this fight to the ground, he will, be able to have some control, win some minutes with his control. But Lima, again, he's so active and so creative. I think he's going to be able to attack some limbs from certain different angles and even work his way back to the feet. And on the feet, I just think that he's got all the ability to win this fight. He is a little careless sometimes. He drops his hands sometimes. He is very hittable on the feet. And Raposo does have some power, so I do worry about that a little bit. But the line climbed, actually, because when I was first looking at this fight, I think it was closer to like plus 160 on the Raposo side. Now he's plus 200. So people are seeing what I'm seeing. And Lima looks just to be the better fighter watching the tape. So, yeah, I'm going to agree with you here. I have him to win inside the distance as well. I just think that it's going to be a high-paced fight, and I like him to win in that sort of environment.
I agree. The guy's high level on the feet and improving on his back, so I think he gets this one done. Let's move on. Next fight of the night, Aileen Perez taking on Jocelyn Edwards. It's the second fight of the night, and it looks like I'm already gonna have to visit the bathroom, take a nice piss. Definitely not a shit, because those bathrooms are definitely nasty.
No.
Where's the
Prudential Center? It's in Newark, so I'm not taking.
No. Nasty bathrooms. Yeah, no. I'm gonna pass. I'll definitely take a pee. Maybe get some food.
Yeah.
I wonder. Do you know? Like, you've been there before, I assume.
I have.
What do they offer food wise?
I mean, pretty like simple stuff.
Regular
like hot
stadium
dogs,
food.
Pizza. Yeah, pretty simple stadium food. But yeah, this is definitely the fight to do that. Get your food, get your drinks, do whatever you got to do, because ain't nobody paying attention to this.
Yeah, this fight sucks. Aileen Perez should win. I don't think she should be minus 200. I don't think she's amazing. This is somebody that got submitted by Stephanie Egger, who's a bum in round 2. But at the same time, she's bounced back. She's looked solid in her last 2 fights. Beat who'd she beat? She beat Ashley Evans Smith. Dominated her. Evans Smith, horrible at this stage in her career. And then she had a split decision over Lucille Pudilova, in which her eye got fucking busted up. Still got it done. She's got really good takedowns, or not really good, but she's got good takedowns. That's going to be there all day, every day against Jocelyn Edwards. I think on the feet, Edwards will be able to win some minutes. I think it's a very, very close fight. I think Perez does just enough with the takedowns to win a decision. I see another split decision here, to be completely honest. I don't think Perez should be minus 200. I think she should be closer to minus 150, minus 160. I think the value's on the Edwards side if you want to gamble it. I'm not gambling on this fucking dog shit. I'm going to pick Perez, values on the Edwards side. I could care less.
Yeah, I got to agree with you. I'm going to pick Perez here as well. Look, Jocelyn Edwards, she did get robbed in her last fight. And she had some impressive moments. She had some impressive moments, but it's a very simple style that she brings to the table. She's really simple on the feet, doesn't throw a lot of kicks, 1-2s. She's not very fast, which is the one thing I think could work against her in this fight in both the departments, on the feet and on the ground. Because Aileen Perez, I mean, you watch her fights, I feel like every single one looks kind of the same. She will, do what she does on the feet for a little bit, just hang around, not really do much, and then all of a sudden she'll shoot a takedown. And once she gets that takedown, she basically holds her opponent down for the rest of the round and establishes dominant position, lands her ground and pound. The thing about it is Jocelyn Edwards is a strong grappler, strong wrestler. I don't know if she'll have the same ability to control her for minutes at a time, but I do think that in those clinch situations, Aileen Perez will probably be the winner there. And on the feet, I mean, she doesn't seem to be as comfortable striking and for at least long periods of time, but I just do think that she's the faster striker on the feet as well. So I think she's probably better everywhere in this fight. So I'm really confident that she gets it done. But yeah, I'm not betting on this either just because it's a low-level women's fight at the end of the day. But yeah, I haven't seen anything from Jocelyn Edwards to make me feel like she's going to win this one. So yeah.
Yeah, bum fight. Let's move on. Next fight on the card, Mickey Gall taking on Basil Hafez. Hafez should win. I think it's going to be closer than people think, though. I mean, Hafez is, minus 300? I think that's kind of crazy. I mean, yeah, he had a very, very close fight with JDM. I mean, he put up a great account for himself. But at the same time, JDM kind of made that fight close himself, right? The guy kept jumping guillotines, kept putting Hafez, kept giving him the opportunity to, have the dominant position on top. And also, Hafez is such a crazy chin. Like, he took every shot from JDM. Mickey Gall, it's a completely different style here. This is a long guy. He's got all right striking. He's got a solid ground game. I think Hafez will have some trouble with Gall early, maybe. But I do think he gets it done. I think he wins by decision. I don't think he finishes him. I think this fight goes the distance. I think it's fairly close. I think Gall, again, I don't think Hafez should be minus 300. I think that's wide. Again, yes, he did have a very close fight with JDM, but styles do make fights at the same time. I'll pick Hafez, but yeah, I don't think Gall should be plus 250. I think that's crazy.
To be honest with you, I don't think it's that crazy. And it's just because if you're watching Mickey Gall in his last couple of fights, the Alex Morono fight especially, he's getting taken down and kind of just held down for minutes at a time by Alex Morono. And look, he doesn't do anything on the feet to suggest that Basil Hafez is going to be in any sorts of danger in this fight. Like, he was in real danger against JDM, but that's a technical boxer. Mickey Gall has 2 strikes. He's got a 1 and a 2. That's all he does. He doesn't throw any kicks at all, doesn't set up his takedowns. He just dives in with his head down. He's got no fundamentals whatsoever. And I do think that Basil Hafez is fairly priced in this fight. I mean, other than the cardio issues and the fact that he does keep his hands very, very low, I mean, there's not a lot to worry about here because he's just so much better in every area here. I'm not impressed with anything that I've seen from Mickey Gall in his last couple of fights. I mean, the guy is 7-5 as a pro fighter. He's facing Mike Malad. He got destroyed in one round. He's beating guys like Jordan Williams, Salim. Like, who are these guys? Like, if I'm being honest, Mickey Gall is not a UFC caliber fighter, in my opinion. And I think Basil Hafez will get the job done inside the distance. So that's my pick.
I mean, it's fair, but what has Basil Hafez done to make you think he's deserving
just that last? I mean, bro, that last fight against
But what
JDM.
did he do? But what did Basil Hafez do outside of take massive shots and get on top position? Because
He took him down pretty consistently in that fight. What are you talking about?
Because Madalena kept jumping the guillotine.
But Mickey Gall has zero takedown defense. I don't know what is going to stop Basil Hafez in this fight from doing what he's done basically in all of his wins, which is asserting himself in the grappling, in the wrestling, and landing those powerful shots. Because at the end of the day, with that style, if he's not really worried about what's coming back at him, the power that's coming back at him, it's not like Mickey Gall has knockout power. So he's going to run in there with his head up or with his chin up, swinging wild shots. And I just can't imagine that, none of those shots are going to land. I think he is eventually going to land and hurt Mickey Gall. And I just think he's better everywhere, to be honest. I'm not a fan of him. I've been a pretty big hater of Mickey Gall, to be honest, ever since I've been watching the sport. He's just not a good fighter, in my opinion.
7-5. Like,
he's not a good fighter. If you just watch him, he's just not good. It's that simple, in my opinion. So,
fair.
Yeah.
Fair. I can't really fight it. I'm also going to pick Hafez. I don't think it's going to be as dominant as you say, but I will pick Hafez to get it done. Let's move on. Next fight of the night. Alex Morono will be taking on Nico Price. Another God, what the fuck
should have
is this
happened
fight?
4 years ago, this fight. I don't know why they're doing it now.
This fight should never have happened.
To be honest, no, really.
Nico Price is coming off an embarrassing loss. I mean, got starched in 60 seconds by Robbie Lawler, maybe less. I'm not sure. That was insane. I mean, Nico Price's chin is completely gone. That's something to take in. But something to take in on the Morono side is this guy has zero finishing ability unless he can guillotine you, or if Cowboy Cerrone's in front of you. Morono's coming off a fight against Court McGee in which it was very close. He got it done, but it was a close fight. He got taken down. McGee won round 3, I believe, but Morono's 1-2 was there. Morono's really not that good. Nowhere is Nico Price, especially at this stage of their careers. This fight is just so bad. I can care less. I'll pick Morono. I think Nico Price is old and completely washed. But again, Morono has zero punching power. So that's how people are going to beat Nico Price. Guys that have power. I mean, look at that Robbie Lawler fight. He has a little bit of power left and starched him. We'll see what happens. I'll pick Morono by decision. I don't think he finishes him. I think he'll hurt Nico Price. I don't think he finishes him. Morono couldn't finish fucking me and Rohan. I'll pick Morono. Again, could care less.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Morono as well. I just think that, look, Nico Price, he's 34 years old. Morono's 33, but for some reason, Nico Price just looks way older than he is. I mean, he looks lost out there. And even for those 30 seconds of that Robbie Lawler fight, he's just putting his head down in the pocket against Robbie Lawler. He did that 4 times in a 30-second span. That's why he got knocked out. Look, Morono, like you said, he doesn't have punching power, but what he does have is fundamentals, and he knows how to just pace himself. He does slow down a little bit in the 3rd round, which is why he lost that one to Court McGee. That's pretty embarrassing. But Nico Price, he's the same way. I mean, this guy's cardio is a question at this stage. His power is not really there. And the only thing he has really in his advantage, which is why I could see him winning this fight, is the creativity factor. This guy does do some things sometimes that, his opponents just don't see coming. He can catch you off guard and find a way to finish the fight. But I just think that Morono is the safer, more conservative fighter. And I think he works pretty well behind his jab, especially early in the fight. I don't see a finish. I think this is a decision on either side, but I'm going to side with Morono as well. He's just a safer fighter here. And Nico Price coming off just a devastating knockout. So I don't know how that'll change him either. So yeah,
as you mentioned, Nico Price does have some creativity, but the question is, does he still have it at this stage of his career?
Exactly.
And I really don't think so. I'll go Morono. Not a lot of confidence. Let's move on. Next fight of the night. Grant Dawson will be taking on Joe Solecki. Another fight. It's going to be a fun fight on the mat. These two are going to scramble. It's going to be fun to watch. On the feed, it's going to be an absolute disaster. Both fighters are not good at striking. Grant Dawson got starched by a jab from Bobby Green. He got jab knocked out by Bobby Green. And Joe Solecki is coming off a slam knockout against Ricardo Close. Yes, that wasn't on the feet, but regardless, he got brutally knocked out in his last fight. It's an interesting fight. They're giving Grant Dawson somebody who can't strike, so you should assume it's a layup. I wouldn't say it's a layup. I think Solecki's talented on the mat. I think he'll make it close. I think it's a split decision, to be honest. Again, Grant Dawson, almost minus 400. No,
Crazy.
no, I don't think that should be. I'll pick Grant Dawson to win, though. I do think he's really good on the ground. I think he's got great rear naked choke. I think he's got great back control. Look what he did to Demir Ismagulov. Looks great in that fight. But again, on the feet, he's not the best. But again, that's not something he's going to have to worry about here. I'll take Grant Dawson. Close decision. Do I still think there's hope for him? How old is he? Grant Dawson. Do we have an age on him?
He is 30 years old. So
I mean, yeah, he's at the prime of his career.
Exactly.
I mean, maybe he just had a bad weight cut. I mean, he must have had a really bad weight cut to get knocked out like that.
Yeah.
I'll pick him. Close decision. Solecki, I think he's all right. Both fighters good on the mat. Really good on the mat. But I'll go Grant Dawson.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you again. Grant Dawson's going to be my pick as well. There was a reason that people were, rating him as highly as they were leading into that Bobby Green fight. I mean, people were labeling him as a future, serious prospect in the division. And I think he is a really, really talented grappler. And that's ultimately going to get him the win in this fight because Solecki, he's just not as consistent as a wrestler. Like he's not able to consistently take opponents down. His own wrestling defense is a question as well. I think Bobby Green is, at this stage in his career, losing to him in that fashion is really bad. It does not look good. But this is a completely different fighter. Joe Solecki does not have power. He doesn't really have speed on the feet. I think Grant Dawson's going to feel real comfortable on the feet. And it's going to be a wrestling fight for the majority of it. And he's just the better wrestler. So I don't really have too much to add to this one. I think you laid it out pretty perfectly. I think Grant Dawson's going to feel right at home. And I think I like him to get the job done by decision, probably.
All right, let's move on. Next fight of the night, Phil Rowe taking on Jake Matthews. I mean, this is a really hard fight to call, in my opinion. I mean, I'd say this is close to 50-50. Jake Matthews is just a hard fighter to get a read on. He's had some weird wins, some weird losses. I mean, this is a guy in his fight against Andre Fialho where he had moments where he was losing the fight. Comes back and knocks him out, of course. But, I mean, where does this guy stand? I mean, in his last fight, he fought against Michael Morales, and he actually looked all right. I mean, he lost the fight by decision, but he made it close. I really don't know where this guy stands. He also had that win over the summer against Darius Flowers, in which he looked bad in round one, comes back, Flowers gasses, Matthews gets the finish. Phil Rowe, we kind of know where Phil Rowe does stand. Phil Rowe, solid on the feet, solid on the ground. He does a bunch of grappling matches. I believe he got flying triangled by Gordon Ryan. Obviously, no shame in that. Gordon Ryan, one of the best jiu-jitsu guys in the world. But he's out there. He's working on his ground game. He's got solid striking as well. But again, this is a guy. His wins in the UFC have been nothing. I mean, who'd he beat? Who'd he beat in the UFC? I mean, he lost to Gabe Green. I know that. His last fight, he lost to Neil Magny, who, obviously Neil Magny's not the best. He's not the worst. He's just, a gatekeeper. I wouldn't say there's too much shame in that loss. Who did...
He beat Jason Witt.
He beat Jason Witt.
Orion Kosi, these guys are
we don't, again, it's tough. It is tough to see where both these fighters stand. I feel like we do know more about Phil Rowe, even though he's had less fights in the UFC. Jake Matthews, minus 160 favorite. I'm forced to take the underdog here in Phil Rowe. I think this should be an evenly lined fight. Matthews is a guy who's shown to struggle against really low-level guys, even if he's won the fight. And then those guys that he did end up beating, and Andre Fialho, or Darius Flowers, they gas out and they get finished. I think Phil Rowe won't gas here. I think he's got a solid gas tank. He didn't show that in the Magny fight, but again, that's what Neil Magny does to you. He wears you out. Look at the Mike Malott fight. I think Phil Rowe will show improved cardio. I think it's a close fight. I think it goes the distance. I'll take Phil Rowe. Low confidence.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is a weird one. This is probably one of the toughest ones on the fight for me to call, just because Phil Rowe is a very interesting fighter. He's got the physical tools of a fighter that usually would strike, but he prefers to grapple, it looks like, and he's done so many, jiu-jitsu matches on the regional scene. It looks like that's what his focus is, in his career right now, is his grappling and his jiu-jitsu. But in this fight, I think it'll be interesting to see how he approaches taking Jake Matthews down. He's a shorter fighter. It's going to be interesting to see how he gets inside on him. But I think Jake Matthews, he doesn't do a lot to scare Phil Rowe in any way, because on the feet he's really simple. I mean, his style is pretty much just straight boxing. He doesn't kick much at all. He's got decent head movement, but it's just pretty much just straightforward boxing for him. And I don't think he's gonna even threaten many takedowns in this fight. I don't think that's ever been his approach. So yeah, it's definitely good matchmaking here, but it's tough to really call just because I mean they're so different, and again, not these fighters haven't faced a lot of previous competition that can really emulate the style that they're about to see right now in this fight. Like Phil Rowe hasn't faced a lot of guys that are shorter and stockier, and Jake Matthews hasn't seen a lot of guys that are taller and rangier like that. So it's going to be interesting to see where
outside of Michael Morales.
Michael Morales, but Michael Morales was doing a lot of stuff in that fight that I just thought was not smart. Like he was doing a lot of flying techniques. It didn't look like he was all the way taking that fight serious, and that's not Phil Rowe's style either. He's a very a grounded fighter. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because I just think that at some point Phil Rowe will try to implement the grappling, but it's going to be weird because Jake Matthews is not somebody that usually is successful against the fence in those type of exchanges. So I don't know where I'm leaning in this fight, to be honest with you. I think just the value that's on Phil Rowe at plus money, I think I'm going to personally side with him. But yeah, I'm not really betting on this fight, and I'm not confident in either side. But I'll take Phil Rowe just because I like his well-roundedness, and yeah, I think he's got a little bit more of the advantages in this spot. So
yeah, I'm 100% with you. Let's move on. Featured prelim: Roman Kopylov taking on Cesar Almeida. We're already at the featured prelim. There's only 12 fights on this card. I mean, a lot of fights on this card did end up fizzling. I believe like 7 or 8, maybe even more. But yeah, we're here. Featured prelim is actually a really good fight. I'm looking forward to it. Kopylov versus Almeida. Cesar Almeida, very, very highly touted kickboxer. There's a guy that beat Alex Pereira in kickboxing a while back. He was still kickboxing as of 2021, 2022, having close fights with some very high-level guys. This guy's really good on the feet. Really, really, really good. It's a weird matchup against Kopylov because, yes, Kopylov is also really, really good on the feet. He's going to drop round 1. We know Cesar Almeida is going to win round 1. When Kopylov fights, he usually drops round 1 and comes back in round 2 and round 3. But is Cesar Almeida, on the same level as these guys that are losing in round 2 and round 3 to Roman Kopylov, where he's really giving up? As I apologize for that little text notice, I'll turn that off. I don't think so. I think Cesar Almeida is very high level with the striking. I think he's got great low kicks. I think he's going to chop that leg up of Roman Kopylov early. And I just don't think Kopylov will have enough to get that late finish. I think this fight, will it go the distance? I don't know. I want to say it does, but again, I think Almeida's live for a finish, man. I think this guy's really brutal on the feet. Yes, he is 36. Yes, he is older, but you see with guys like Alex Pereira, he's 36, and he's having major success in MMA. I don't want to compare him to another guy, but I do think Cesar Almeida is just the slightly better striker here. I think Kopylov will have the range, but I think Almeida is just so seasoned at kickboxing. This is going to be a kickboxing fight. If Kopylov does shoot takedowns, we've seen that Cesar Almeida's takedown defense is really good. He does have solid ground game. We saw that in his Contender Series fight. I'll just tell you right now, as I dropped a short video on it yesterday, we got Cesar Almeida plus 124 and added a little more at plus 115. I think he should be the slight favorite here, to be honest. I think plus money was crazy. I'm going Cesar Almeida here.
Yeah, the CM at plus money was kind of crazy as well, and I think, he's still at plus money, so I'm interested to see where that line movement ends up. But yeah, I agree with you here. In this spot, he's not going to have to worry about the takedowns whatsoever. I don't think Kopylov has the ability to really press him and apply pressure with the wrestling. So and Dylan Buka was supposed to do that in Almeida's last fight. We saw that was kind of like a striker versus grappling matchup, but he handled that beautifully, and he dominated that fight, if you're really being honest. He made Buka look kind of silly, especially in that second round where he was able to get the finish. So look, Kopylov is very, very talented, but when you're facing somebody as seasoned as Almeida, somebody that's seen it all at the kickboxing level, and again, like you said, this is going to be a straight stand-up fight. I don't see this fight hitting the ground at all. And Kopylov is one of those fighters that uses the first round to kind of download a little bit of data, and then he kind of looks to come on stronger as the fight goes on. So at 36 years old, it'll be interesting to see if Almeida's cardio is tested somewhat in this fight. But even Kopylov, I don't think he's got like some crazy gas tank of his own. So I just think ultimately it's going to come down to who's the more skilled striker in this fight, and I just can't deny that it seems to be Almeida in this spot. So I'm going to side with him. Not too much confidence because Kopylov has had a lot of impressive performances in the past. That head kick over Claudio Ribera, I think it was, that was so beautiful. Beat Josh Fremd, liver shot, but again, showing that dexterity, that ability to mix it up. And then he lost to Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, but Fluffy is a really good fighter, as we've learned recently. So I don't know, man. This is another really tough fight to call, but ultimately, like you said, just given Almeida's kickboxing credentials, I think he's the safer pick here. And yeah, to see him at plus money, yeah, go hop on that because I wouldn't be surprised to see that line move even more.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's move on. Next fight on the card. It's the first fight of the main card. The fact that this is a fight on a main card on a pay-per-view is kind of crazy, but hey, it's here. Randy Brown taking on Zaleski dos Santos. Yeah, Zaleski is such an interesting fighter. I mean, this guy beat Benoit Saint Denis, but again, that was at 170. Saint Denis was just too small for that weight class. Also took that fight on short notice. Then he got suspended for like a PED. Came back, beat Abubakar Nurmagomedov. Close fight, got the win. I thought Nurmagomedov won, but who cares? And in his last fight, he fought Renat Fakhretdinov. Got dominated in round 1, 10-8, but came back and looked really good in round 2 and round 3. But here's the thing. This is a completely different style here with Randy Brown. I mean, Fakhretdinov's a guy who's going to go all out early, going to go try and ragdoll you. He's got all right striking. He's also, not that tall for 170. Randy Brown's very, very tall, 6'3", 6'4". He's going to use his range. He's going to use his strikes. And Zaleski's not going to be able to use his kicks against a guy like this, against a guy in Randy Brown who's so fucking long. I just don't see it happening. I do still think it's a close fight. I mean, it's a Randy Brown fight. It's not like Randy Brown's some sort of, high-level fighter. But I do think stylistically this does favor Randy Brown heavily. Zaleski also getting up there in age, although, he's had a few fights at this higher age and he hasn't really showed it quite yet. But I do think Randy Brown is just the younger guy. I think he's got the stylistic advantage. I'm going to take him to win.
Yeah, I got to agree with you here. I think all the physical advantages are on Randy Brown's side. And look, he's had some fights in the past where he hasn't looked the best. Even that win over Wellington Turman, there were moments in that fight where you were like, what are you doing, Randy? Get your stuff together. And I hope that's not the case in this fight because really he has all the physical tools to just stand at distance and keep this fight on the feet and comfortably win. But I just think that Zaleski will find a way. He's a veteran of the sport. He'll find a way to kind of make some rounds a little ugly. And I just, like you said, I don't think Zaleski will have that same success against Brown with the height advantage just because he won't be able to use the kicks. He won't be able to use those body shots that he loves so much, at least not to the same effect, because Randy Brown will be at a distance. So I think that, look, Randy's straight punches, his straight techniques, his teep kicks even, that'll be some of his biggest weapons in this fight. And I think Zaleski can pressure some of the takedowns. Randy Brown doesn't have the best takedown defense, so I could definitely see him landing a few takedowns in this fight. So I'm not too confident. What's the line on this one? What's
Randy Brown minus 170.
Yeah, that's probably where I would have it as well, to be honest, because I could definitely see a scenario where Zaleski has some success in the wrestling department, holds him against the cage, lands some shots upstairs, and then ends up winning a real close decision. I could see a fighter getting robbed. I don't know. I could see a lot of different outcomes for this fight, and for that reason, I won't be betting on it. I think it's a terrible fight to bet on. But as far as a pick, I'm going to side with Randy Brown. I think I'm always going to side with Randy Brown against this kind of mediocre competition just because I'm a very big fan of those long, rangy, technical strikers. And while he doesn't have the best striking defense, I think his striking offense is really the separator in this fight. So I'm going to side with Randy Brown. Again, not the most confidence, but I think he should get the job done. So, yeah.
All right, next fight on the main card, we've got Jailton Almeida versus Alexander Romanov. We last saw Almeida at UFC 299. Was looking really good and then got hammer-fisted to death by Curtis Blades. Thankfully, yeah, that guy is really a nut hugger. Made Derek Lewis look like the most boring fighter on planet Earth, which we know is not true. And here he is, coming back against Alexander Romanov. Going to be another boring fight. I do think Almeida wins this one by decision, I'll say. I think Romanov's also pretty talented on the mat. You know what's crazy? I feel like Romanov was like the Almeida before Almeida. He was destroying these bums on the ground, like the Jared Vanderas of the world. Like he was destroying them. But as soon as he took that slight step up in competition, even against like a Juan Espino, he won that fight by split decision. But I thought he should have lost that fight. This guy's not that good. I remember he gassed out in 60 seconds against Alexander Volkov. You remember that? That was horrible. He's coming off a win, actually, against Blagoy Ivanov, but that is Blagoy Ivanov. He is not good at this stage in his career. That guy, man, he could take a Blagoy Ivanov.
Oh, my, yeah, because I was just going to say, it was in the PFL against Sergey.
Remember that?
Yeah,
we were watching that.
That was a war, man.
That was a fun fight. But I do think Romanov's just out of shape. I think Almeida's more in shape. I think he's more athletic. I think he'll be able to get his takedowns here. I think, will Romanov have success? No. I'll say no. I think Almeida ragdolls this guy for 3 rounds and wins the fight. Another straightforward kind of fight. Like, I just... Romanov's fat and out of shape. Almeida's in shape. Yes, he should be fighting at light heavyweight, but this guy is so fucking strong.
Yeah.
I think he'll be able to pick up Romanov. And another thing about Almeida, he hasn't really shown to slow down. Yes, he did get TKO'd in round 2 in his last fight, but it's just because he's an idiot. He left his fucking head right there, and Blades, hammer fisted him to death. I think Almeida's got the cardio to do this for 3 rounds. We saw in the Derek Lewis fight, he picked up a big fat guy for 5 rounds and dominated him. I think he'll be able to do the same thing here. I'll take Jailton Almeida. I don't know if he gets the finish. He might. I'll say decision, maybe a finish. I like Almeida, though.
Yeah, I 100% agree here. Look, all of Romanov's wins, I mean, they're coming against the archetype that you expect him to beat. Chase Sherman, another fat guy. Bandera, fat guy. Blagoj Ivanov, fat guy. Like, he's beating the guys who he should beat. But Almeida, he's got that ability to just keep that pressure on you and hold you and wear on you for rounds at a time. And I just, look, if Romanov is not going to be able to do what Curtis Blades did, which, I mean, I'm so happy Curtis Blades did that. And I think I picked him in that fight. I did pick him, and he was a big underdog, but I picked him because if you're able to stuff those takedowns and just make them a little uncomfortable, then you have a chance. You have a fighting chance. And Jailton Almeida, to your point, I don't know what his strategy was to just leave his head wide open next to Blades' hip for him to just hammer fist away at. But I think, he's not going to have that same issue against somebody like Romanov, because he's not going to be able to stuff those takedowns and keep Almeida at bay like that, hugging on his legs. I think Almeida will have a lot of success in getting him to the ground and actually establishing a dominant position on the ground. Whether or not he does anything with those positions, like, again, he had dominant position for 25 minutes in that Derek Lewis fight, but again, didn't do shit with it. So I think we could see another case like that. Thankfully, there's only a 3-round fight, so it won't be that long. But yeah, I don't see how Romanov poses any sort of threat here, because his grappling is going to be neutralized by the superior grappler in Almeida, and then on the feet, it's really not. Like, I don't think that Romanov has any real striking ability here. So yeah, I think Jailton Almeida is going to have another signature nut-hugging performance where he lays on his opponent for 3 rounds and wins. So yeah,
you're spot fucking on. Let's move on. The featured fucking fight on a pay-per-view. Kevin Holland versus Michal Oleksiejczuk, and they actually added this fight, like 2-3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
So we're going to have to see Jailton Almeida as a featured fight. That would have been hell. But, hey, Kevin Holland saves the day, kind of. I don't know. He's back up to 185. Man, the line on this fight. Kevin Holland minus 260.
Crazy.
That's insane. Like, this is a guy who's, I believe, when was the last time he fought at 185? It was, like 2-3 years ago?
Yeah.
This guy hasn't seen 185 in a few years. Another thing about Kevin Holland, remember the whole thing at 185, how he was looking great, and then he took that slight step up and showed 0 takedown defense?
Yeah.
He's a big guy in Oleksiejczuk. I think Oleksiejczuk will have success. Will Oleksiejczuk win? I think he's got a darn good chance. I think it's a close fight. I think this is a 50-50 fight. I do. The fact that Kevin Holland's that big of a favorite, I think it's crazy.
Yeah.
I think Oleksiejczuk, plus 220, plus 215 is value all day. Kevin Holland, moving from weight class to weight class is not a good look. Yes, he's going to be cutting less weight. Yes, his chin might be slightly better, but he's facing a bigger guy, a guy who's going to pack more of a punch, a guy who's going to be able to take him down. We know Oleksiejczuk will get at least 1 or 2 takedowns in this fight. This is a close fight. We know what Kevin Holland's going to do. He's going to go out there, throw his 1, throw his 2, maybe go for some darces, some guillotines, some awkward chokes. We know exactly what Kevin Holland brings to the table. Oleksiejczuk could win this fight, and it's really in his hands. I think Oleksiejczuk, if he mixes up his takedowns with his strikes at the right time, this is his fight to win. And yes, he's coming off a brutal. It was a submission, but got hurt to the body against Michel Pereira. I think this is a different fight. I don't think Kevin Holland's as vicious. I think Kevin Holland's more frail as well. I don't think he's as filled out as Pereira is at 185. Although both fighters, they do fight at both weight classes. It's a tough fight to call. Again, line completely off. 50-50, and you know what? I'm just going to say outright. Very, very low confidence, but I'm going to say Michal Oleksiejczuk does win this fight, man. I just think he's going to be, I don't want to say too big, because Holland does have a 3-inch height advantage, but more filled out. I think he's going to be stronger. I'm going to pick him to win.
Yeah, it's not the easiest fight for Kevin Holland, and like stylistically, I definitely see where you're coming from. I'm gonna pick Kevin Holland just based on past opponents, the history. I think he's got wins over better competition, and Oleksiejczuk, there's some question marks about his striking still in my eyes. Look, he is decent everywhere. He mixes it up to the body actually really nice, and I think that is one of the biggest advantages in this fight, because the thing about Kevin Holland is his striking defense. He keeps his hands real low. That's number one. He doesn't check leg kicks. That's number two. And number three, he leans back. When he's on the retreat, like, he just leans back. He doesn't really slide his feet, and that just leaves him very open for body shots and takedowns, which, again, to your point, I think it would serve Oleksiejczuk really well to mix those in this fight, because Kevin Holland at 185, he's probably going to be able to get taken down in this fight. I just think that if he is taken down, I trust his ability to scramble back to his feet, get up enough of the time to keep it on the feet. And then in the later rounds, I think that's where Kevin Holland is going to start to make his mark, because I don't think that, like, in his past fights, Michael Venom Page, he just couldn't figure that guy out. There was no chance you could tell within the first 3 minutes of that fight that he was losing. Jack Della Maddalena, it was a closer fight in the end, and people didn't really know who won. I thought it was the right call eventually, but I think it was a close fight. And again, a tough fight to lose to. Stephen Thompson, there's no real shame, and he broke his hand in that fight. Khamzat Chimaev, no shame in that loss either. Like, he's not losing to guys that you're saying, oh, Kevin Holland, really, you lost to him? No, I think the fighters that he is facing that he should beat, Ponzinibbio, he beat. Chiesa, he beat and submitted him. That was very impressive. I think he's got the ability to scramble. He's got
all at 170.
True at 170. You're right. That is very true. That's probably the scariest thing about picking Holland in this matchup, is that he hasn't fought at 185 in some time. But again, Oleksiejczuk isn't some like technical grappler or striker for that matter. He's just decent everywhere. And I think this is a very, very winnable fight for Kevin Holland. I think it's a great fight to return to if you're making your return to the weight class. If this is an official move for him, which we're not really sure if it is or not, I think this is a great name to take on in your return to the division, because it's real winnable for him. So yeah, I don't
real
like
winnable.
Again, winnable, and I like him to win the fight. But again,
who is Kevin Holland beat at 185?
Shit. Was Alex Oliveira at 185?
Like, exactly.
Tim Means, I guess.
Exactly.
Was that 185?
He beat Fluffy, but that was before Fluffy was
true.
That was before Fluffy was Fluffy, man.
Yeah.
Who was he beat at 185?
Did he beat Fluffy?
He did.
When was that?
Knocked him out in May of 2020.
Okay, gotcha.
But still, like that.
But regardless, I mean, again, the people he's losing to, is there any loss in there that you're really saying, like, oh, I mean, that's really worrying in my eyes. Like, Kevin Holland's not
getting outright completely dominated by Derek Brunson and Marvin Vettori, I think is worrying.
But not in my eyes. I think Marvin Vettori he came on short notice against Vettori, I'm pretty sure.
Derek Brunson
fight, Derek Brunson, bro, in his prime, Derek Brunson was a tricky fighter for a lot of guys. Like, Derek Brunson is not like some bum. He's a decent fighter. And Kevin Holland was, out-wrestled in that fight, which, what were we thinking he was going to win in the wrestling? No. Look, in this fight, I think that he can get taken down. But again, Oleksiejczuk, I don't think is going to be able to hold Kevin Holland down and threaten any submissions, really. I just think Kevin Holland's got the speed advantage. He's got the creativity advantage on the feet and on the ground, And I just like him. I think his history and the level of competition he's faced in the past is going to be what I ultimately point to here to say that he's going to win this fight. But again, the odds on this, minus 260 is insane. I agree with that 100%. The value is not on Kevin Holland in this fight. But yeah, ultimately I'm going to pick him to win just because I can't pick Oleksiejczuk.
Fair. Let's move on. Co-main event. Tough fight to call. Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa. Speaking of the line, I don't think Sean Strickland should be a minus 220 favorite. I think Costa.
These odds are crazy.
I think Costa is live for a knockout early.
Hell yeah.
But as the fight goes on, man, Strickland's gonna wear this dude down. I think there is a finish. I think there is a knockout in this fight, whether it's a 4th, 5th round finish by Strickland or a 1st, 2nd round finish by Costa. It's tough. Picking a winner here is very, very, very tough. You know what? For the first time today, I'll let you go first because I don't know. I gotta hear you.
Man,
convince me.
Convince you? I'm not really feeling any sort of way about like any sort of fight. I'm not too confident on either side. Let me just say that because I think the fight goes the distance. Let me say that. I think
it goes the distance.
Yeah, I like that. Plus 160. I think the fight goes the distance. I think.
Why?
Well, Paulo Costa went the distance with Marvin Vettori.
Okay.
I think in that fight he didn't look. Man, this is a tough
You don't even
fight.
know.
This
You
is
don't
a
even
tough
know.
fight. I don't know. I don't think that. Where would you say the finishing upside is on this in this fight? It's definitely
I
on
think both fighters could finish.
But at different stages, because I think it's Costa early or
That's what
Strickland
I
late.
just said.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's a round 1 or 2 Costa, round 4 or 5 Strickland. I think that's how the fight. I don't think it goes to distance.
But if it does go late, like I don't think Paulo Costa is like a lock to get finished late. He has the ability to survive. I mean, his chin is insane. Paulo Costa, he eats a lot of.
He was gassed out in round 3 against
That's
Luke
the thing,
Rockhold.
like the cardio. But again, Sean Strickland is not like.
Slowed down. Definitely showed to slow down in round 3 against Rob Whittaker in his last fight. And now he's going to have to fight another 2 rounds against Sean Strickland, a guy who's not going to stop coming at him. But I don't know. I'm not saying Sean Strickland's going to win the fight. Make a prediction here.
I mean, I really, this is probably the toughest fight for me to call, to be honest with you. Because, I mean, the power advantage is obviously with Paulo Costa. I mean, but this is going to be a strictly standing fight. We know that. Like, Costa will not try to take Strickland down. Strickland will not try to take Costa down. I like the ability of Costa to just mix it up, mix his striking up. He uses his kicks really well. He's landed a high kick against practically everybody he's faced in his last couple of fights. So I think if he does eventually hurt Strickland with a high kick, that could lead to a finish. I don't know why Strickland is so heavily. Why is he priced so high?
Here's the thing I got to say. If you like Strickland in this fight, do not bet Strickland.
No, I don't.
Money line. No, listen. No, I'm just saying if you do think Strickland, don't bet his money line now. Wait after the first 2 rounds and live bet him. He will be at plus money 100%. That's the perfect way to bet this fight if you like the Strickland side. I'll just go here. I think this is a very, very, very close fight. It's Costa early. It's Strickland late. And if this fight does go the distance, it's who did more, Costa early or Strickland late. It's a very, very tough fight to call. The value is all on Paulo Costa. Plus 170, plus 180. Value all day, every day. But picking a winner is so tough. You know what? I'm going to pick Paulo Costa. Why not? Zero confidence. But I do think, Paulo Costa looked good in that Robert Whittaker fight. He looked athletic. Again, I really don't have any reasoning here. I think I broke it down.
It's all about his gas tank. At the end of the day, because he's a better striker than Sean Strickland. To put it plainly, he's a more complete striker. He's got the kicks. He mixes in the body shots way better. He's a better striker than Sean Strickland. I'm pretty sure every MMA fan would be able to agree with that take. The only thing it's going to come down to is how does he look after 3 rounds.
So make a prediction.
And I think that's why I like this fight to go the distance, because I don't think that Sean Strickland is going to finish Paulo Costa like in the later round. I don't think that he's gonna finish him. I really don't. So I'm feeling pretty strongly about that fight to go the distance at plus money. I actually like it. I'm convincing myself because I'm not of the opinion that even late, it's not like Costa's chin is going to leave him. It's more his output decreases and he just doesn't throw as much. But if Strickland is sticking to his same simple ass game plan, which is just 1-2 come at you with my shoulder up, then I don't think that's going to hurt Paulo Costa because he's got a fucking chin. What are we worried about here? I think all the value, like you just said, is on Paulo Costa to get the job done. So yeah, I'm going to pick him as well. I think he wins, and I'm going to say Paulo Costa by decision. I think he does enough early. I think he hurts Strickland. I think Strickland probably survives, has some moments in the 3rd, 4th round, but ultimately I don't think that Paulo Costa is going to be done and out by the time this fight is over. So I think Paulo Costa by a very, very close decision. I could even see it being a split decision. But I'm going to side with him, and yeah, all the value is there. So I might just bet on him outright because, yeah, at plus 200 right now, I think that's
200.
Yeah, on some book having plus 200.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
I'm gonna go Costa with zero confidence, but yeah, value's 100% on his side. Main event time: Islam Makhachev taking on Dustin Poirier. It's a main event. It's a championship fight. This is very, very, very easy for me. I think Islam Makhachev dominates every moment of this fight. Makhachev, that striking has looked so refined, and man, just the way he's kicking, the way he's just so measured. Just look at the Volkanovski fights. The guy's looked incredible on the feet, and not only that, he's the best ground game artist in the world right now when it comes to mixed martial arts. Excuse me. Poirier is nothing on the ground. You look at that Benoit Saint Denis fight. Was getting destroyed in round 1. Saint Denis got tired. He had a staph infection that does impact your performance. Gassed out after round 1 and lost. I think if Makhachev's coming into this fight healthy, he's going to dominate. I like Makhachev finish. I think he finishes. I think he subs him round 2 or round 3. Simple as that. This is going to be utter domination. Poirier fans, do not get your hopes up. I'm going to, we were talking about what are we going to do short-wise because we record our short videos. I don't know if I'm going to even have a bet in my video. I'm just going to say, Dustin Poirier fans, don't get your hopes up. your guy's going to he might die. I mean, I'm dragging it, but
Yeah.
this is going to be utter domination. Islam Makhachev. Poirier stands 0 chance.
Yeah, ultimately, if you're a Poirier fan, the spot to bet him as an underdog was definitely his last one against Benoit Saint-Denis. He's a huge underdog here, now plus 500. He's not winning this fight. It's that simple. I mean, Islam Makhachev, to your point, this guy, I mean, to put it simple, he's the best fighter in the world. He's the best fighter in the world. He's the most complete fighter in the world right now. The fact that his striking is even close to his grappling, which is already the best in the sport, is a scary, scary thought. This guy looked incredible against Volkanovski in that second fight. Again, short notice, but say what you want. It does not matter. This guy has it all. And Dustin Poirier, if he's got submitted by Khabib Nurmagomedov, whose striking is horrible, how's he going to fare against Islam Makhachev, who has the same level of grappling and just worlds better striking than Khabib? It's not even close. This guy is beautiful. The way he mixes up his kicks and his strikes on the feet. He is just so well-rounded, and there's just no. I don't see many paths to victory here for Dustin Poirier. I don't see what fans could really see. Dustin Poirier fans, how is he winning this fight? Let us know in the comments if you do believe he gets his hand raised. How is that going to happen? Because he's not going to beat him on the feet. I don't think I mean, the only way is for him to draw Islam in, make him somehow drop his guard and land a crazy bomb. But that's never really been Poirier's MO. He's more of a war of attrition kind of guy. And in this fight, there's going to be takedown after takedown. Can he get back up consistently enough? No, we already know the answer to that. So if Islam just goes all out for the wrestling and just tries to end this fight early, I think he can, because there's just no way that Dustin Poirier is going to be able to withstand that onslaught of grappling that he's about to face. So yeah, Islam Makhachev all day, every day, inside the distance. That's the pick. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
I am with you, folks. That's all we have for you today. Before we sign off, premium disc. Are we even calling it premium? Counterpunch Locks server. It's 30% off right now. We may do a little free trial. We'll see how the week goes. But yeah, I mean, bunch of bets, as always. Bunch of future bets as well. The month of June is going to be absolutely killer. Really looking forward to it. We're the best MMA betting group in the world. So much content is provided to you in a small Discord server. It's amazing what we got going over there. So yeah, if you want that at 30% off, just click the link in the description of this video. As I mentioned, we will be at these fights, UFC 302. Yeah. If you see us, say hi. Why not? Folks, that's all we got. Rohan, any final words?
Hey, man, let's enjoy it. I think it's going to be a fun card. Not the best name value, but it's going to be fun, so I'm excited.
Man and co-main are going to be a blast as well. Let's fucking go. It's been Lucas and Rohan signing out.
Peace.
Adios.